Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the lessons. If you're new here and not sure what I mean by lessons, I have been sharing lessons from my personal experience and the experience of other people that I know. In the past 36 days, in the days leading to my milestone birthday, I turned 40 in just a couple of days, and I have been sharing these lessons every day. If you stick with me at the end of this episode, I have linked a carefully curated playlist of all the lessons. They're really short and sweet. You can give those a listen when you've got the time. You can go ahead and save the playlist for later. Alright, so for today we've got lesson 37. Let's get right into it. Lesson 37 is obedience always outperforms hustle. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with hard work. I encourage it. We're called to diligence, alright? And in Proverbs 22:29, it says, "Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand before kings and not mere men." But here's the catch. Hustle has its limit. Obedience does not. And so when it comes to the personal development and coaching space, it's constantly repeated to work harder, push more, never stop grinding. But what if I told you, that your greatest breakthrough is not hiding in your next hustle strategy, but in your next step of obedience? Now that's a bit bold, isn't it? Let's anchor this in scripture. 1 Samuel 15:22, reading the NIV version, it says, Does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as in obeying him? To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams. Here God is saying your efforts, your sacrifices, your grind, they all mean nothing if they're not rooted in obedience. Now, in obedience to God. He's not impressed by your hustle, but he's moved by your trust. And one of the ways that we communicate our trust is in obeying his leading. Let me ask you this. What if the very thing that you've been striving to build through your own effort could come into alignment simply through surrender? As coaches, entrepreneurs, leaders, or upwardly mobile individuals, we are wired to execute. We thrive on momentum. But sometimes God will ask you to pause, to go left when the trend says to go right. To give when you feel like you should save. To walk away when the world tells you to stay and fight. And it won't always make sense. But remember Peter in Luke chapter 5? He had toiled all night, all the hustle, all the effort, all the hard work, but no results. But when Jesus said, "Launch into the deep and let down your nets," Peter's reply was, "Master, we worked hard all night and caught nothing. We're not new at this. But then at your word, in obedience to your word, I will let down the nets." And you know what happened after that? They had a net-breaking, boat-sinking harvest that didn't come from their hustle. It simply came from obedience. You might be in a season where it feels like the grind is just endless. It's just from one thing to another. You're doing all the right things, but you're not seeing as much fruit as you would like, or none at all. But could it be that God is inviting you to surrender your hustle-driven agenda and return to his voice? Just lean into his voice. Because here's the truth, obedience is not passive at all. It's not a weak state like some people would love to believe it is. Obedience is not passive at all. It's the most active form of trust. It's not weakness, it's alignment. And when you are aligned with God, you attract what your grind could never access. That I know, experientially. It's like divine connections, closed doors flinging wide open before you, resources that you didn't pitch for, opportunities that you didn't even predict, and peace that surpasses hustle-induced burnout. Those things can be ours when we're obedient. I've seen this happen in my own life as well as others. The moment we pivot from striving to listening, from grinding to following divine instructions, things just change. So here's your reminder for today. Stop worshiping the grind. For some, it has become an idol. But start honoring God's voice. If He says to wait, go ahead and do so. If He says to go, fire on all cylinders. Even when it doesn't make sense, especially when it doesn't make sense. You see, your obedience is a seed. And seeds, when they're sown in faith, they always produce a harvest which are often much bigger than anything you could have hustled into existence. Now let me leave you with this. God will take you places your effort never could. You need to trust that. But only if, that trust is enough to go ahead to obey Him. Even when it costs you, your comfort, logic, even applause, and admiration from others. Alright? We will get much more than we could ever imagine when our lives are lived out in obedience to God. If this resonated with you, let me encourage you to reflect on this. What is God asking of you right now that you maybe have been resisting? What doors are you trying to force open with effort that may just open with ease if you walk in obedience? Let me leave that with you to reflect on today. Thank you all for tuning in today. If you found this helpful, go ahead and like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear this reminder today. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, let me encourage you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You could also tap on the notification bell. It tells you when I upload the next lesson or when I post any other resource. Until I come your way again tomorrow with lesson 38, have an amazing day or night, whatever time it is that you're listening to this. Bye for now.